Hello, welcome back to the Mr. Arsenal podcast for the match review from last night. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 2. As you can see, I'm joined by Andrew again and Liam, who was there as well. How you doing, guys?
All right, mate. Not too bad. How are you, Liam? All right?
Yeah, I've had that day to get over what I saw last night.
Still not recovered though, are we?
I'm watching some decent football at the moment. Man City v Bruges, and they've just taken a 2-0 lead. Man City, just with some blistering, pacey, attacking football. It's lovely to watch. I forgot what it's like.
Well, I think that sums up.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, boys, and see you next time.
But yeah, as I was saying, Liam, you were at the theatre. You were there last night. What?
You're going quiet, mate.
You muted yourself then, Ryan.
Bloody Mike. So, what was the atmosphere with Vieira towards the as he was coming out and all that? We only got a glimpse of what the sound was like because the commentators kept talking. And after going 1-0 up, did you think what was going to happen happened?
The Vieira bit was probably the best bit of the atmosphere of the night. Oh, he's gone. I'll carry on talking now.
Yeah, I'll enjoy what you say.
It was probably the best part of the night, the Vieira part, because the atmosphere again was not there. And I raised my concerns about this, like, were we going to turn up like we did against Tottenham? And we don't. And it was somber again last night. We took the lead, and we took the lead quite well in the first 8 minutes. But after about 20 minutes, we seemed to just change our game plan and just sit back. It was awful. It was awful. The midfield performance again. I picked out Partey like against Brighton. Yet again, he's off the pace. He's not fit. He's so unfit at the moment. He's nowhere near Premier League level being fit. And the centre midfield, we got bypassed every single time. They got two aging centre midfielders. Don't get me wrong. McCarthy should have gone with that tackle. Absolutely, 100%. And that's another story. But we shouldn't be getting outplayed by Crystal Palace. We shouldn't be getting outdone on possession by Crystal Palace at home. What have we become? Honestly, I don't know what we've become anymore. There's no substance to our style. There's no substance to our play. There's no consistency. At the moment, I can't see us beating Aston Villa now. And if you look for like results this year to last year, we'll probably end up roughly around the same points or even less. Like, we got points against Chelsea last year. Palace, we drew against them at home last year. We drew against them at home this year. Do you know what I mean? You look at the games that we won. We beat Norwich 1-0. They're the worst team in the league. We couldn't score goals. Tottenham, we turn up for. It seems to be the only game of the season that the players and the fans turn up for. And then we just go back to the same situation. I looked at the results after we beat Tottenham in March. We went on a crap run then after we beat them in March. We didn't win a game for about 3, 4, 5 games in the Premier League. And the same thing's happening again. And the mistakes are not being identified. They're not being changed. I don't know what we're trying to implement anymore. And it's the first time, I'll be honest with you guys, that yesterday I sat in the stadium with 3 minutes to go and I was thinking, I ain't coming here Friday. I've had enough now. I can't. It's hard. It's really hard. Like, it took me, I got home at 1 o'clock in the morning. And it's all false storms, isn't it? We beat Tottenham and think, oh yeah, we've done it again. We're going to go and beat Brighton. We're going to go and beat Palace. We don't beat them again. We didn't beat Palace last year. We've struggled against Brighton for quite a few years now. We maybe beat them once or twice. We got Aston Villa next. When was the last time we beat them?
Oh, bloody hell. Well, the last three times we played Villa, we've lost every single one.
Absolutely. Sorry, guys, I don't want to be so negative, but that's how I felt last night.
No, you've got to be honest.
We need to draw against Villa to keep up the nice, pretty pattern. Yeah. And then we'll have 3 defeats, 3 wins, and 3 draws on the trot if we draw. But there's a tweet by Shard Guna at Shard Guna. Arteta is remarkably consistent across 66 Premier League games. The first 20 Premier League games, you've got 33 points, 32 goals, 21 goals against. The next 20 games, 30 points, 26 goals, 20 against. The final 20 got 31 points, 29 goals, 23 against, and the last 6 are currently 11 points, 7 goals, 8 against. So you can see the way things are going. And he's finished off the tweet saying this is his level, and once he drags the team down to match it, it may drop further. And 66 league games, guys, and we've got no obvious sign of a specific type of play. Our players seem to be regressing, and you can see what Patrick Vieira has done with the massive upheaval of Crystal Palace after 8 games. They didn't play yes off the park. They weren't fantastic. But what they have done is completely changed their style of play. They've got a specific style of play, and you can see that style of play, and he's been there 8 games. Now, you can see what we're at after 66 games under Arteta, and no one can still tell you what his specific style of play is. And that sort of sums it all up, really, doesn't it?
What would have happened yesterday if the Eze and Zaha had been fit? They were missing the 2 best players. Their 2 best players, they were totally missing, and they still were seconds away from beating us at the Emirates.
Yeah, I know.
It beggars believe, like you said, Patrick Vieira's changed their style in 8 games. Like, I'm quite close to a lot of Palace fans, and they're absolutely amazed what he's done in the first 8 games over there. And I've watched them on TV. They battered Leicester. They competed against us, didn't they? I didn't think they'd win the midfield battle against us. Like,
I know. I didn't think that Brighton would win the midfield battle against us, but they did. You know, I just can't understand what's going on. We've got some really good quality players, in my opinion, and they know what. They've just getting no tune out of any of them. And it's only like Smith Rowe, who's always at 100%, like buzzing around the pitch, desperately trying to make things happen. But that's not been taught to him. That's not been coached into him. That's just the way he is. And thank God that that is the way he is, because otherwise we'd have nothing up front. With the amount of money that front line has cost us, apart from our 2 academy kids who are clearly our best players, what are we actually getting out of these players? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And with Thomas Partey arrived at our club as one of the best midfielders in Europe. What the hell happened to him since he's arrived? He's not the same player. He is absolutely gone as a player at the moment.
He would never perform like that under the Simone. Simone wouldn't allow him to perform like that.
Of course he wouldn't. Of course he wouldn't. And what the hell is going on with our club and our players? They're just going down the toilet.
I've said it before, and you'll agree with me. There's no experience from top to bottom. Josh Kroenke, Finney, Edu, Arteta, no experience whatsoever.
Exactly.
No experience.
On that, I was saying today, because people obviously have been venting that as well on group chats and this, that, and on Twitter in general. I'm like, there's more. I think it was Craig, but Craig, formerly of the Same Old Arsenal podcast, he put out a tweet, and I was basically, Unai Emery didn't get. Unai Emery got more grief from the fan base and the media than what Arteta is. There's got to be more to it. Why is the club allowing this to happen? And I'm like, you look into it. Look at the clubs or the franchises, so we say, that the Kroenkes own over in the States. All the coaches they've hired recently are all the same ilk, inexperienced rookies, cheap and cheerful. What's Arteta when he came to us? Rookie, inexperienced, cheap and cheerful. Out of the options that was available. And because it's worked it's kind of worked with the LA Rams with I can't remember his name, but basically when he got him to a Super Bowl a couple of years ago, because it's worked that way. I think it's more arrogance that they think, oh, well, it's worked at home, Dad. It's going to work here. It's going to work here. We've cracked it. We've cracked it. Even though it's not working, it's clearly not working. And I'm getting to a point where I'm sick to death as a football fan of the club I support, having to write a season off this early on as the season. I feel like I've got to volley it off again because I'm seeing no improvement. Like, do you know what? There's no style of play. There's no nothing. Vieira's been in the job 5 minutes. You want to see this. He's got a philosophy. He's got a plan A, a plan B, a plan C, whatever. He works within his means. He's got And he's on a shoestring budget compared to Arteta this summer.
Of course he
we
was.
toyed 2-2 at home. We played like the away team once we went 1-0 up.
And do you know what the worrying thing is? I think that the way, in a similar vein to what Man United are suffering at the moment under Ole, he wins just enough critical games to stave off the sack. And I'm worrying that Arteta's going to do the same. He's never going to be in such a disastrous run. I mean, it was very obviously, clearly bad enough for the fans last season in the run up to Christmas. But obviously the board didn't see it that way. But you can see it going a similar way with Arteta, that he'll probably go and get a win or a battling draw against Villa or something, and it'll just keep the wolf from the doors, and nothing will get done. And I'm just worried about that, because I'm sick to death of trying to make excuses for him now. I mean, I've always liked Arteta, and I've never hidden that. But I've always had my worries about Arteta, and I have never hidden them either. But then something happens that makes you think, oh, wow, you get a game like Spurs or something, and that really excites you, and you think, right, God, thank God we're back on track again. And it takes away a few of your worries that you've always been having in the back of your mind. But then they all come flooding back again the week or two down the road, and I pretty much had enough of it, really, to be honest with you. I mean, I know we didn't lose yesterday, and everyone's acting up, got thrashed, but it's nothing to do with that in the end. It's the completely gutless performance, nothing about it. And good players, you can see good players like visibly getting worse in front of your eyes week after week. And I've literally had enough of all that now, and I've run out of excuses for him, and he's just not up to the job. He's just literally not up to the job, and we need to do something, and soon. Because I'm with you, Liam. I cannot see us getting anything out of the game on Friday. I can't.
So I picked up on the other day when obviously the trailer. If anyone doesn't know, have you seen the trailer for the Wenger documentary that's coming out in next month on film and all that? And Vieira, there's a piece where Vieira pops up and he says, "When a manager defends you to the hill and has your back, you want to run through brick walls for him." There's times under his tenure, the last 2 years, where Arteta's publicly thrown players under the bus, and maybe them players are. But they're beyond wanting to play for him. Certain players, not all players, but certain players that he has, like the Pepe's and all that. And they're still here, obviously. And maybe it's now creeping into the other players, the performance-wise, and it's just like, well, but how much longer do we have to witness this? He's playing for us. We're playing fans, and we're getting treated like mugs.
Yesterday reminded me of Southampton 2 years ago when we got battered at the park and Lacazette got a 97th minute equaliser. Right, we're going down the same cycle. We're going down the same. I can see it in the performance. And I know Russ is saying Pepe, he's probably one of our best players, and he probably potentially is. The problem is though, the midfield's so deep that it's so deep all the time. We're sitting back. We're not getting Pepe in the positions that we should be getting Pepe. We want Pepe 30 yards from goal, 25, 30 yards from goal on the ball, so he can do what he can do. But we're not getting it. We're not even getting him into that position. And the other problem we had yesterday, and fair play to Palace, they swamped him. And he does need to toughen up a little bit, Pepe. But they absolutely swamped him. And there was no support. There was no, look at what we got lucky in the last seconds. I don't even know. Literally 30 seconds before, the fans were going mental because it was Martinelli on his own in the byline. No player come towards him. They just sat there and stood there. And he got. To be fair, it was because of him we scored, because he got that throw in or whatever it was, and then we got a corner and scored from it. But there's no connection in the team. There was no connection. It was like he put 11 players out who never played with each other before last night. And I don't know if he's trying to change tactics during the game, but we're not Manchester City. We haven't got the players that Manchester City haven't got. We haven't got the midfielders that Manchester City got. Our players are not intelligent enough to change tactics during the game and all that. It doesn't work.
We were 4-4-2 out of possession last night. I could have paused the TV at any point, and when we were out of possession, we were in a perfect 4-4-2 formation, which was a bit weird, to be honest with you. I mean, I don't understand what he was trying to get out of that, but he wasn't getting anything out of it, was he? I mean, because
you go 4-4-2. If you're going to go that, you want Lacazette in the team, don't you?
well, of course you do. Yeah, I've said that a few times.
Like the geezer's got to start Friday for me. If he doesn't start Friday, there's a big problem. Like I know what he'll do. If he does start on Friday, he'll push Aubameyang out wide, probably. But like to be fair, when Lacazette come on, we started to play football a bit. We started to get the ball into the box, and like to be fair, Uber looked more happier when he come on because he was not on his own, and he like they done a few bits, didn't they? Where he made that Guaita made that save from Lacazette, and there was little bits that you thought right. We need to get these players in the positions to be able to be at their best. Pepe, Lacazette, Aubameyang, they need to be in the best positions, and I don't think Arteta has ever sussed it out. Ever sussed it out. And the centre midfield for us at the moment, like as I said, like Partey, he's totally off the radar. I'm glad he got substituted, you know. And it was weird because like we end up with Lokonga and Smith Rowe kind of like in a centre midfield role. But it got to the point where I don't know what it is. He not fit? Like I know he got injured, but is there something else behind it all? Because
I think he's been left, been given too much to do. I personally think that because I mean, you partner him with Ødegaard. Ødegaard ain't a deep line midfielder.
No,
in a midfield double pivot, he's just not that player, and he ain't going to do the work. That's where we did miss. You know, we don't care what anyone says. We missed. Xhaka having next to him because
absolutely
that's the worst part of it all, you know, because we knew that Xhaka and Partey was our best midfield combination if he wants to play that midfield pivot of two. But then as soon as he gets that opportunity to do that again this season, he gets injured for 3 months. That's a bit of bad luck. But when that sort of thing happens to you, that's when you earn your money as a coach. You need to find an alternative way of playing without Xhaka, and he's not done that. In my opinion, he's not done it.
He needs an outline defensive midfielder, like someone like a Francis Coquelin kind of player. Like Palace just run through us last night. Like there's no one there, is there? To like you said, we need to get Partey in a position where he's got someone with him who's going to do the dirty work, and then let him be that kind of box to box kind of player. But like you said, he ain't got no one. Like Lokonga's probably the same kind of player. If I'm being totally honest.
Yeah, they're not. He's not a defensive midfielder. Neither of them are.
No.
And if you haven't got that type of player, and I've said this 100 times, haven't I, Ryan? If you haven't got that type of player, you don't play that way. You have to play to your players' strengths. The players that you've got, play to their strengths. And if you haven't got the right type of defensive midfielder, then you can't play defensive midfield. You can't try and make do. You just have to you'd have to go out and try and win games 4-3 if that's the case, and play to your players' strengths and just try and score more goals than them. If you've only got an attacking midfield, you have to play an attacking midfield. You can't turn players into what they're not, unless you're an absolutely incredible coach. But you know, as I said a couple of times already, our players seem to be getting worse than better, and which is a massive shock because I thought, if anything, he was going to be a good coach on the training pitch, but it's not showing me that he has been in the slightest.
Yeah, and he's got no excuses either. No European football this season, so he's got no excuses for not having enough time on training pitch. He's got
exactly.
Someone pointed out to me last night, and I didn't think about it. Tierney, you can tell he's losing his passion. He's losing it already. Like to be fair, he has been not at his top form. That's a nice way of putting it. At the start of the season, like. Last season, he'd be setting up goals, he'd be getting in the box. The crossing's not been very good for him this season so far. And I'm wondering if he's starting to lose his kind of passion with it as well. And he had a lot of it, didn't he? And will. And is that going to be the same thing end up happening to Smith Rowe? Like Smith Rowe in the first half, like you said, he was everywhere. Do you know what I mean? As a number 10, I've never seen a number 10 work as hard as he did in that first half. He was everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll lose that soon. He'll lose that because he'll get tired of it.
People stop making the runs if they don't get the ball. That's what happens at any level of football. I don't know you obviously both maybe have played Sunday League football. It even happens at that level. After a while, if your teammates aren't doing what you're working your nuts off, and your teammates aren't doing the same, your form will just drop and drop. You don't become, just lose it. You just don't become the same player, and that could. I mean. He had that moment yesterday where he hit the crossbar, didn't he? He's probably still wobbling now, from that shot. But he does try and make things happen. But his performances this season, like you said, have been nowhere near their best. It's just been nowhere near. And whether that's down to formation, whether it's down to I don't know, but he has lost it, and we can't lose these players, can we? We can't lose their quality. We haven't got.
Reflect.
Could it be down to the fact that with the way the results have been since Arteta's taken over the last 22 months now? 24 in December, wasn't it? 2 years. Maybe certain players like Tierney, who have that winning mentality of seeing things aren't improving and thinking, fuck it, I can't be asked with this guy. I'll wait for the next guy to come in. Or hoping anyway. It's a bad thing to do. I mean, it's a bad thing, but players do that.
I was just reflecting last night as well. Like, I think he started quite well, Tommy Asu, and I quite like him. But you could tell last night as well, like he's quite restricted in his play going forward as well, isn't he? And maybe that was an issue with Pepe last night as well. Like he had no one out there with him. Like they were swamping him, literally swamping him, and he was expected to speak 3-4 players. And I'm not kind of defending Pepe because he frustrates me the hell out of me at times, but then he does come up with a couple of like decent moments, and you sit there and you think, why can't you do that consistently, mate? But is that because of him, or is that because of the manager?
I will. I'm quite happy to defend him yesterday.
Yeah,
because and ourselves, what we were doing a watch along, weren't we, Ryan? We weren't even playing in their half. I mean, he was just he was stuck out, getting chalk on his boots, and he wasn't getting into the game at all. And on the odd occasion where we did, got the ball to him in a good area, he obviously cut in, took the shot, and we scored off it. But we weren't supporting him. He was getting no players anywhere near him, and we weren't playing in their half for most of the match until maybe the last, I don't know, what was it, 15, 20 minutes when Lacazette came on, especially, and then Martinelli came on. We were pushing forward then, but it took until that time when we were actually playing and trying to score a goal, it seemed. But we weren't supporting Pepe. We weren't even getting anywhere near him or playing anywhere where he could get the best out of himself at all. And I know that he's been getting bashed all over Twitter for some reason. Everyone's blaming him for last night. God knows why, because we wouldn't have scored the first goal without him for a start. But he is just not being utilised. He's one of the key players that's not being utilised properly by Arteta, which is what we were talking about earlier, about not playing plays to their strengths. And he is the absolute key to that.
Do you think, like, say we had a Conte at Arsenal, do you think you'd get the best out of someone like Pepe?
Well, without doubt. Without doubt, yeah. I mean,
some of that ilk, yeah.
Yeah, not specifically Conte, but someone that's someone that's got more experience, who knows what they're doing better. I mean, look what happened to Chelsea last season when Tuchel took over from Lampard with the same set of players. He changed it overnight like that. He immediately worked out the players' strengths and played to their strengths. And they're obviously their results changed overnight, literally. And I think he lost 2 games out of 20 or something towards the end of the season. I can't remember the exact figures, but something like that. And he turned it around. So if you get someone in who knows what they're doing, then yeah, of course. But I mean, Pepe to me shouldn't be anywhere. He's not a winger. He's like an inside forward. He needs to be in the box.
Forward. Yep.
He needs to be in the box. And I'll tell you what, he'd be a good option if we did play a 4-4-2, proper 4-4-2, play alongside someone like a Lacazette or, if they sort of played within the box as a proper old-fashioned 4-4-2, he'd be a good option to play like in that type of role. Because he needs to be near the goal to get the best out of him, in my opinion, anyway.
Yeah. Because you've obviously mentioned Conte there. Look what he did with Lukaku. It's a different league, but look what he did with Lukaku. Look what he did with Sanchez. Sanchez had that year and a half spell at Man United. Nothing went right for him. Suddenly his form changed a bit. Went back into sort of not exactly the form we saw at Arsenal, but going back in that right direction. He changed Lukaku for a better to making him a better player than what he already was. I'm not saying, as you say, not just singling out Conte, but as a direct replacement. I'm just saying, that manager of that ilk will know how to get the best out of his best players, and even his worst players. He got bring it together.
I still think we missed the boat when Ancelotti was available before he went Everton, because they went at the same time. Him and Arteta, didn't they?
The same day.
Ancelotti would have been like, I know he went to Real Madrid, but I don't think he would have gone Real Madrid if he had been at Arsenal and he'd turn it all around. It needs that experienced ilk, like a manager who knows to get the best out of players. And I want Arteta to do well. I want him to be the man. I want him to be the going man to take us forward. But every time you think you take a step forward, you end up falling down the ladder. Do you know what I mean? And then you're 2 steps behind again. And you start getting into this kind of mode. And you can tell already it's going to affect the fan base. The ground's going to start becoming disgruntled again because no one trusts the process. No one can trust that we're going to go to a game here and we're going to win a game. I was very shocked when I was on my show the other night and I've got Arsenal fans going, yeah, we're going to spank Palace 4-1. No, we're not. We're not going to beat spank Palace 4-1.
No, because we're not the Arsenal of 15 years ago.
No, exactly. We're not capable of doing that at the moment. Like, they had 54% possession. We had 46 at home. We're Arsenal. They're Crystal Palace. No disrespect to them, but that's a telling factor, an absolute telling factor that where we're at the moment, that Crystal Palace are outplaying us at home, and we're sitting back trying to counter attack them.
We've got no God-given right to beat anyone, but I mean, Palace. I said this yesterday a couple of times, but they're our bogey team anyway. I think we've only beaten them once out of the last eight
and that
times.
Was fortunate, wasn't it?
Yeah. So it's a bit of a weird one with Palace, but we never do well against them. But they surrendered their most dangerous weapon yesterday in Zaha. Like you said, we still couldn't beat them. So that's just, it's just telling, really, that we can't finish these teams off. And I still can't understand that. I mean, because I'm not comparing our quality of our players to Man United, obviously, the quality of their front line, etc. But even despite Ole, they're going to win a lot of games because of the quality they've got on the pitch. They'll just take control of the game, even just for a short period, and bang 3 goals in within 15 minutes, for example. Yeah. But we've got players that, not as good as that, but we've got players that could do that on the pitch and just think, fuck it, we'll do what we want, and just take control. But they don't seem to do that. They seem to be not motivated to do anything like that. I just don't know what it is. I can't understand why that, even despite the manager, we can't make that quality tell. That's a weird one for me, because you think that these great players, they should have that bit of professional pride to think, I want to show people what I can do and just win a game with a bit of flair, but we can't seem to do it at all. And that's a weird one for me.
I just like you said, like, remember, like, even in Wenger's last year, we were beating Everton 4-0. We were beating Palace 4-0 after 22 minutes. We had players that even in his last year, where, to be fair, it was filtering. We were falling down at that point, but we were still going out and beating teams, like scoring 4 goals in the first half.
Yeah.
CSKA Moscow in the quarter-final, weren't it? We was 4-0 up against them, I'm sure. So 4-1, something like that, half-time. And we used to do that. But now, apart from Tottenham, that's the only time I've seen it. And the Prague game last year away, that's the only time that I've seen us come out in the first half and actually go at a team. And I'm not sure if it was all obviously, it was a lot down to us and we performed against Spurs, but it was also about how shocking they were in centre midfield that day. And even the second half, and this is the bit that frustrates me with Arteta, even the second half against Spurs, we lost the half. We went negative in the second half.
Yeah, I know, that annoys me.
And no one talks about it because we won the game 3-1. But we went negative in the second half. When we beat Spurs 2-1 and they went down to 10 men, we went negative then and Kane hit the post. And it's like he's too scared to open the team up.
Yeah. But
it's continuous. And there's obviously a trust factor with him with something. Is it the midfield? I don't know what it is. But, we take a lead and we just sit back. We never go at a team. And last night, we got kind of found out. And I think if they had Eze or Zaha, mate, we'd have lost we'd have been 3-1 down or 4-1 down by the time Lacazette scored. 100% if them two.
Yeah. It's been like that ever since Wenger walked out the door, isn't it? We've never been able to do that again. Even in his worst possible time, finishing 6th in the league, by the way, would still have great weekends where, like you said, we'd go out and spank a team. But we haven't got the capabilities of doing that anymore. And under the last 2 managers, it seems like the shackles have never been unlocked at all. Never. We can never play that free-flowing football, even though we've had decent enough teams to do it. We've just not done it. And I'm sick of it, to be honest. Absolutely sick to death of it. Any team in the Premier League can go out and put out a great. You watch any sort of performance, and you're thinking, no matter what teams you're watching, you're thinking, why can't we play football like that? Sometimes, even if you're watching Norwich or Brentford or anyone else, you're thinking, they're playing better football than us, and they all seem to be, don't they? I don't know if it's like something going on in my brain, but they all seem to be playing better football than us at the moment, no matter who you watch.
They got a substance.
Frustrating.
They got a substance. Brentford got a substance. Look what Brentford did to Chelsea the other day. Unbelievable performance, really. Like how they didn't get a draw, if not a win out of it, was incredible. They battered Chelsea in the second half. There's no fear in their team. There's no fear in Crystal Palace at the moment. Patrick Vieira's not playing football. There's fear at Arsenal. Massive fear. And it's deep. It's deep. It's deeper than the players. It's deeper than the managers. It's upstairs as well.
Yeah.
It's just there's so much. It seems to be like so much fear factor. Like Aubameyang, I know to be honest, right? He scored last night. And a good finish that was. Good finish against Tottenham. But this ain't the Aubameyang of old. The confident. He doesn't seem like the confident Aubameyang of 3 years ago. Who you could put your house on that he'll bail you out of jail every single time. And I don't think he should be captain anyway, but he is captain. But he's not the same Aubameyang. He's not the same Aubameyang, and it's sad to see in some ways. Like I even watch him in warm up sometimes, and I think he doesn't. There's a fear. It seems like there's a fear there as well. It just seems a fear throughout the team.
I mean, let's face it. We gave him that contract because he was literally carrying us week in, week out. If it wasn't every pundit, everyone was. If it weren't for Aubameyang, God knows where Arsenal would be. No Aubameyang, we don't score, and. Yeah, I don't know. It seems like you ever heard the term the yips that golfers get?
No.
Have you heard of that? It's like something mentally goes wrong with them, and they lose all confidence and all the shots. They just can't play golf anymore. I think Tiger Woods went for it for a while, where everything they hit just went off to the left, went off to the right, and it's a common sort of thing, especially in that kind of sport. When a hand-eye coordination is gone, it's just overnight. It just goes, and that just mentally they can't do it anymore. And it seems like our players sometimes just suffer with that. It's just there's no real explanation for it. But I was watching Chelsea Brentford last weekend, and I put it on Twitter. I thought Brentford were absolutely battering Chelsea. They were so unlucky not to have got anything out of that game, but they. Like you just said, Liam, they played with no fear. They didn't have any respect for them. No respect for Chelsea at all. They just played. They put their game plan onto Chelsea and they just battered them. And I cannot remember the last time we did that to a team. Incessant pressure. And even if we play well for a spell and get one or two goals, one goal maybe, we don't score two very often, but it looks like we're playing some really good football. It doesn't last. Then the remaining 70 minutes, we're sitting back, we're hanging on. I would just love to see a performance where we can just put incessant pressure and try and go after a team, go for the throat, get a goal, and then try and get another goal to just kill them off.
That's what it seems it needs, don't it? It seems like it's like trying to rip something totally out of them to get that. You're totally spot on. We just don't go for the kill whatsoever. We got no kind of substance to our play. It's frustrating because you sit there and you think we get ourselves into a 1-0 lead after 8 minutes, but we've been there before. I've been there before, especially at Crystal Palace. Every single time we go 1-0 up against them and we concede every single time. And it's the same thing every single time. We lose the ball in centre midfield and they just literally hit us with their pace, and it's become not stale's not the word, but it's become. I expect it. I just expect that to happen now. I expect them to score. Yeah. I expect them to lose the ball and they'll score from it. And honestly, I'm just so frustrated. So frustrated. It's the first time I've sat there and thought, I don't want to come here Friday. I really don't want to come here.
I know. Well, it's literally a joke that predicted that Benteke would get his one annual goal against us, and he did. He won't score again the rest of this season. You know he won't. But play against Arsenal, fill your boots, son. You become like a prime fucking Ronaldo when he plays against Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, you could listen to some of my podcasts from when we, under Emery, and it was the same problem. We pay our opponents far too much respect, and don't play to our strengths. Don't press our game plan onto them. We just try and stop them playing rather than let them worry about what we can do to them. And it's been the same for years now. And I don't know how much more. Like I say, I don't know how much more I could take. This, an inferiority complex. We play like we've got an inferiority complex against our opponents. That's the best way I can describe it.
Leicester game worries me, honestly. 12:30 Saturday lunchtime on BT Sports.
Mate.
Away at Leicester, honestly, absolutely worries me at the moment. Yeah. I'm just like, I just can't see, like, even them, they got substance, they got start. I know they haven't started the season as well, they probably done over the last couple of seasons, but then you look at them against Manchester United and you think, Jesus, imagine us playing them at the moment. Like, once we go one goal down, like, you know we haven't got the character to come back into that game. That's the word, character. There is no character to think that we'll go 1-0 down against Leicester away from home. You just know the writing's on the wall. Like Manchester City away, you knew once that first goal went in, there's no way back. There's no way back. There's no characters in there.
Leicester spotted their weakness, Man United's weakness, and then they went for it like a vulture, going for a wounded little animal. And once they got that, they put the knife in, but they didn't stop there. They carried on and they wiggled the knife around a bit to cause more pain. Do you know what I mean? They just they didn't let them off the hook. We had this thing going, didn't we, about the points total, didn't we, Ryan? Like 21. Yeah. And the most we can get now is 17. But we've got 2 games left against Villa and Leicester of that group of 10. We could end up on quite easily now with the same points total that we had last season at the end of 10 games, which was 13.
Yeah.
I can't see us beating Villa and Leicester at the moment, and I don't think anyone can. And that would leave us at the same point as we had last season, 13. We know how bad that was.
And that's my point. Like for like, if you look at the results, we ain't going to be much better off, if better off, if not worse, at the end of this season at the moment, because like we haven't. I know we've had a few tough games, but then we played like Norwich, Burnley. Do you know what I mean? The Palace at home. Like we got to go away. Like I'm not like. Can you imagine going away to Palace at the moment? That fears you. Then I think someone's right who just said on the comment. What game don't fear you? And it's like every game fears me. Every single game fears me that I can't go in there going, do you know what? We'll win this game today. We're putting on performance.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's while you're chatting, I've been thinking about the fixtures we've got coming up. We've obviously got Villa, Leicester, Watford. Then we've got Liverpool. We've got Liverpool winning amongst it. You've got Man United. You've got Everton away. Leeds United away. By then, Leeds United will be back in form and pumping us, and of course, have their fans behind them.
It's going to be an interesting next 2 game. Even the League Cup game is going to be interesting, isn't it? Like that's not an easy game. Like Leeds, like I know they haven't played well, but you still wouldn't count against them coming over and turn us over, would you?
No. I saw a message from one of my friends, and I literally I couldn't have agreed more. Where was it? I'll try and find it in a sec. Basically, saying. It said a lot of stuff, which I really agreed with. But one of the things was that this team under Wenger would finish top 4. And I actually think it probably could. And you would not bet against that, would you? With the players that we've got, the quality that we've got up front. And it does make you think sometimes, because he embraced the type of players and the youngsters that we've got in this squad, and it just does make you think that what someone else could be getting out of this. But it also worries you that the club aren't going to do anything about it and just let it go on and on and on until it was so painful, like it was under Emery at the end, that everyone just stopped blaming Emery, didn't they? They couldn't. No one blamed him after a certain period of time. It was just desperate to get him put out of his misery, because he was just a dead man, like a corpse on the side of the pitch after a while.
But
He was
again, the
that
club
done.
looked it too late, didn't they? They dragged
Yeah.
it out. They dragged out.
And this is what I
Look at
mean.
it again. I mean, Edu, every time there's murmurings that the fan is on the verge of going, he pops up and goes, wait until we've got a full squad together. We've got pretty much a full, apart from 2 players last night, a full squad. What's the excuses now? He was there. What are they seeing that we're not?
I don't know. And I'm just worried that it's going to go on and on for far too long. And in the end, we're going to end up resenting and hating Arteta, which I think that'd be quite upsetting. I think that'd be quite sad because I don't, Arteta is just a nice guy, isn't he? But unfortunately, he's a guy that talks the talk without being able to walk the walk.
Too big of a job for him. It was always too big of a job for him.
Yeah, I know. And you can't blame him for taking it, but it was a mistake that he took it. I think now we could quite easily say that. But I don't want to end up really hating the guy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I agree with you. I don't think no one does. I don't think even if whatever happens, I won't hate him. I won't hate him. I just know that he's not the right man at this moment of time to take us forward. But my concern is the way they've gone with their transfer philosophy, which could be, we've sat there before, haven't we? Like, this will be good in 3-4 years' time. The 3-4 years' time come, and whatever players that have progress end up leaving us and going to big clubs anyway. But I look at the team and I think, what manager will want to come in and actually manage the team?
Do you know what? That's an interesting thing because I was thinking about that before, and I actually not worried about that. I actually think we're in a really, really attractive club right now for a manager to come in because we've done a lot of the hard work. We've cleared out a lot of the crap. We've brought in a lot of really exciting, talented youngsters, and I think that's the fact. I think we have brought in some talented, really exciting youngsters. We're not the complete article. We still need to get rid of a couple more. We still need to bring a couple more in. But I don't think we've got a hell of a lot of work to do to make us a really good quality team again. And Arsenal, no matter what you think, we're still one of the richest clubs in the world, the biggest names. I think we're still at that stage where we can still attract. That was a great goal by Man City, by the way. I just got a little bit distracted, 3-0. But I actually think we're still at that stage where we can attract a really good quality manager. But I don't think that will be there for much longer. I think if we leave it too long, and go to the end of the season, for example, and we finish 8th or 9th again, now then I think we're starting to lose our sheen. But I think because of the work that they've done, I think they have done, to be credit to them, they have done some good work in the transfer market. They've made some hard decisions. They've paid a lot of people off, which, whatever you think of that, they've done, they've ripped the plaster off and just got rid of them. And yeah, we've done a big turnover of stuff. And I don't think we've made a lot of mistakes in the transfer market either. So if this new manager, if hypothetically we got one in, they'd only have to get another couple of players in and get rid of another couple of players to actually make us, I'm not saying to challenge for the title yet, but to be in a really good place, to really sort of knock on the door of the top 4. So I'm not too worried about attracting a manager because we've not got to worry about who's available. We've got to just pick the best one and go and get them, whether they're in a job or not.
Who would you go for?
Me, I'd probably go for Ten Hag or someone like that. Or I do still like Brendan Rodgers. I think he'd get a lot out of our squad. He likes working with young players. He improves players. That's one good thing about Brendan Rodgers. He really improves players. So I've put him right at the top of the list. I like Ten Hag again. To bring in through the youth, he could bring Overmars with him, couldn't he? As well, that'd be quite nice.
What about Potter?
Potter, I'd still quite like to see him in the Premier League with Brighton for another year or two to see where he goes. I still think it's a little bit soon for him, but I do like him a lot. But I'd like to see a bit more of him yet. And same with Vieira. I'd like to see him for another couple of years.
Vieira needs at least 2 years at Palace, don't he?
Yeah.
I think the same with Potter. I know he's been with Brighton for 4 years now, but he's got them playing some lovely football, but they haven't really progressed with regards to sort of steadily climbing the table yet. So I'd like to see him in a couple of years' time. But I think Ten Hag or someone like Rodgers. I know he's a bit of a tosser, Rodgers, but I couldn't care less as long as he gets us playing some really attractive football and gets us back in the top 4. So, what about
Maybe
you?
our
Who would you think?
Who do I think?
Yeah,
But obviously, Brendan, I look at the team and I think it ain't a Conte
It's
style
boring.
team, so there's no point looking at Conte because, like, I like the team's quite young and it will need someone who's going to progress these players as well. I think there's a great show you said about Rodgers. I think he'll be like the leading candidate, wouldn't he? In terms of, and I think that he's probably done as much as he probably can do possibly with Leicester. The only thing he probably could do more is maybe still crack into top four with Man United. That didn't change Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. But do I guess see him getting top four? Probably not. He's won the cup with Leicester, but he's not going to do that year in, year out, is he? And he's probably going to get to a point at the end of the season where he'll probably want a bigger move. Whether that could be someone like us or Newcastle, because you know Newcastle are going to go in for a manager like that with the money they got. But yeah, I think I quite like Brendan Rodgers. The Dutch guy at Ajax. I think he'd be a shrewd choice. Like I think that'd be an interesting one if he joined in. And I do like the way Potter plays. He's got a substance.
Oh, I do. Yeah, I do.
And I do kind of agree that I think managers like him and Vieira, probably Vieira more, probably needs another. We need to see what Vieira does over 2 to 3 years with
consistency.
But he's got the tools. He's definitely got the tools there to do a great job at Crystal Palace.
Absolutely.
I think probably Brendan Rodgers be my leading candidate.
Yeah, and me. And I'm not expecting for Brendan to come in and like take us to the title because the chances of us winning the title is slim to none, no matter who we get in, because of the spending power of the other teams, unfortunately. But do you know what? And it don't sound silly, but I just want to see exciting football back at the Arsenal. Exciting football that gets you out your seat, that you actually, even if you get beaten one weekend, you still played some scintillating stuff and it's, you've lost 3-2 or something, or, you're just playing some wonderful football and with exciting players. I just want that back, and to be challenging for the top four and getting back into the Champions League eventually. I'm not expecting someone to come in and take us to the league title.
No.
But I'm just sick to death of boring football. And that's what I'm a little bit worried about with, bringing in some other managers. What's his name that you just mentioned? Conte, sorry.
Conte, yeah.
I'm a bit worried about Conte because although he's a fantastic manager, and I'll be the last to complain if he starts bringing us trophies and taking us right back up the top of the league again. But I don't want to sound like a spoilt child, but I just want a bit more. I want that exciting football back as well.
But I think you're right. I don't think it's like you being kind of spoiled or anything. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think we look at we're looking at envious at teams at Brentford at the moment. We're talking about Brentford having a style.
Yeah, exactly.
Like Brighton, that they've come at us with a style and a stance. Palace yesterday, without their key players, have come to us with a kind of a style and a stance. Like we want to be feared again. We want players like Aubameyang to be absolutely feared. We want players to entertain us at the Emirates. Like, we know we're not going to win the Premier League for a number of years. If we do win it, it'll be an unbelievable achievement, even in about 5 years for me at the moment. But we just want to be back to that point where we compete with teams week in, week out, that we're confident that we're going to go to a game and we're not going to rely on a last-minute goal when we get absolutely battered by a team like Southampton or like Crystal Palace last night, where we're relying on Lacazette to score a 95th-minute win equaliser. We don't want that. But we're going through the same kind. For me, at the moment, we're going to end up going through the same kind of mode of Emery, and I can see it, and it concerns me. And the problem with Arteta last year, he got away with it because there's no fans, but there's fans now, and it was getting disgruntled in there last night, and kind of rightly so as well.
That's what I was going to ask you. Because I was really interested in that. Sorry to cut in there, because that's what I want to, with regards to whether there's any signs of fans turning on him. Because I've heard a lot of podcasts, things like James McNicholas saying that, that hasn't happened yet. And I'm a little bit surprised at that, but also at the same time, it's quite nice to hear that the atmosphere in the ground has been a lot better. However, I'm a little bit surprised. So, are you saying that it was turning a little bit yesterday?
It's not turning against Arteta in many ways, and it's not got to nowhere near the point where Unai Emery, because it got to the point, like you said, it got angry, but then it got to a point where it was just like We know he's going now. He knows he's going. The run's gone on too deep, and it was just like it was an acceptance. It hasn't gone to the bit yet where people are going for Arteta, but you could tell last night the frustration's kicking in. It's the same old stuff on the pitch, and it's like it builds, don't it? It builds, and if we don't beat Aston Villa, it's going to build even more. And then we get to Watford, and we're expected to beat Watford. Like they're miserable at the moment. They're absolutely miserable. But if we don't get a win against Aston Villa, and we don't beat Leicester, and we get beaten by Leicester, then the pressure's right back on again, isn't it? And it will build, and then it will start aiming towards Arteta, and then obviously it will then go toward the ball will be forced to make a decision. And like we already see that a fan obviously abuse Edu in the first game of the season because they're disgruntled. I think it's got to a point now where a lot of the fans realise it's not just Arteta, is it?
No.
We got people higher up who are inexperienced in their roles who have just not got the class or the quality to manage us into a level that we've been used to and we've been at. Like, no offence, like when we had Peter Hill with David Dean, for example, like there was a connection, weren't there? Like, don't get me wrong, him and Wenger are incredible together. But even before that, the George Graham era, okay, we played some boring football at the time, but do you know what? We won trophies nearly every season. Like we was awful in the league for a few seasons, probably as awful now, but would still go and win the League Cup, the FA Cup, the Cup Winners' Cup, get to another Cup Winners' Cup final under George Graham. I don't see us getting into any finals this year.
Yeah, do you know what though? I think the funny thing is that, and I sort of intimated towards it earlier. I know that the jury's still out on Edu, but I'm actually quite encouraged by the players that we've got rid of and brought in. So I don't see. I think I don't know whether he's a major problem. I think we're still missing someone though, and I've said it 100 times. But it's someone like a Luis Campos or an Overmars to come in to actually oversee the overall, being a director of football at the club and give the club the direction it needs. I think we're missing someone. I don't think there's a major problem with regards to Edu being shit at his job or anything, because I don't think there's much evidence of that at the moment. Personally,
that's the problem. To be fair, his summer window is not that bad when you look at the players coming in.
I think it's good.
Yeah, pretty good window. But
I don't think there's much evidence to say that he's shit at his job.
No,
I think that we need someone else in above him.
Yeah. It's to get to the Kronkers, though, isn't it? Like Edu's the face in the board. The Kronkers are. I don't know if Josh Kronker's there all the time, but obviously Stan ain't. And the frustration goes towards Edu because of the Kronkers at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's a bit unfair to say that he's shit and he needs.
Would you have Omar's in with Edu then?
Oh yeah, without question, he'd be my second choice. My first choice would be Campos, without question. But I'm almost certain that he's going to be snapped up by Newcastle, and that's going to pain me because I've been going on about him for years, haven't I?
Yeah,
Brian. At least a couple of years. Since he left Lille, which is getting on for 2 years ago now. I've been wanting to get him in the club. And I think he's going to go to Newcastle, and that'll be a massive wasted opportunity, I think, because you've only got to listen to his background and read about him in his achievements at clubs like Monaco and Lille, which is just phenomenal. But yeah, he'd be my second choice over Mars. But I just think we're missing someone there big time. We've got a big hole in the club. I don't think we've got enough people with quality there and experience and because I mean between Vinay and then Edu, who else? There isn't anyone, is there? I mean, we've got that Tim Lewis who's basically a solicitor, and then we've got Richard Garlick who no one's 100% sure what he does, but he's the contracts guy. He'll go out and negotiate the contracts, but that's not enough. That's not enough. We need someone to oversee the whole thing. Yeah. Because there don't seem to be enough heads to do all the jobs at the moment. So, I don't know what you think about that, but I think Edu's been targeted, and unnecessarily. But personally,
I think his summer window's kind of smoothed it over with him. I think fans are like, do you know what? He hasn't actually done bad. The players he's brought in actually look like they could be quite exciting players for the future. Even Tavares, I like him. I know he hasn't been the last few days, but I think he's got so much energy.
I think he's brilliant. Yeah, I really like him.
So he has done well, and I'll be honest. I was one of them in the summer, mate. He was quite vocal against Edu because I was getting frustrated. But I do agree that, do you know what? His summer's kind of smoothed it over in terms of the players he has got in, and he's shown that he can get the kind of players in. I suppose the big question now is like, and it may be, do we need someone else with him to now pick the top quality players that we need to go with these players moving forward? Because we don't need another season of buying 6 players for 100 million, do we? We probably need to go and buy 2 players that are probably worth 70, 80 million each.
Yeah, I just think I love the way that the Campos strategizes the running of the club and the recruitment side of it, because he says, I won't go and buy a midfielder until I've actually fully researched the players that go all around him, like as if it's like a chessboard. So if you're going to buy a central midfielder, he wants to go and research who we've got currently that's going to play right back, left central midfield, and right wing, in front of him as well, to make sure that they all complement each other. He thinks about everything, like the full picture, and he will not buy a player that doesn't fit with the players that we've already got, or whether we're going to go out and buy other ones to complement the same player. If you know what I mean, his strategy is just second to none, and he achieves that wherever he goes. He's not had a bad stint at anywhere. This guy, he's sold £1 billion worth of players from nothing. £1 billion. Actually, is it £1 billion profit, or can't remember? But his work in the transfer market, anyways, is phenomenal.
We don't need him going to Newcastle, then, do we?
No, this is exactly the worry I've got, because he is the one that will accelerate their rise to the top, and instead of taking maybe 10 years, he can cut it down to 5. He's that type of guy. So I'm worried about that, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna have to shoot. I'm gonna have to shoot in 5 minutes, so we'll get ready.
Yeah, that's not no way.
No worries, mate. No worries. Well, Liverpool's kicking off soon, isn't it? So
I was about to say it's kind of interesting, isn't it? I do think that with the transfer window as such, hopefully now we'll kind of change our stance next year, and I think, but the problem is we ain't got time, have we? Games come thick and fast, and if we don't win against Aston Villa and we don't get a result against Leicester, then it just gets volatile again, don't it? And the fans get disgruntled. And if I'm feeling like that, and I'll be honest, I'm one of the most passionate fans, so I love going there week in, week out. And yesterday it was the first, as I said before, it's the first time I felt I don't want to come Friday. I
know.
I've had enough of this, but I'll be there obviously. But it was the first time I actually felt like that, and it was just like. Yeah,
especially considering we've only just been let back in the stadiums, you shouldn't be.
I know. Maybe I had the guy next to me saying exactly the same thing, and I'm like, I was sitting there thinking, like, we've only just come back into the stadium, we couldn't wait to get back in there. But hopefully, I'm surprised when we beat Aston Villa and Leicester, and then there's egg on my face, and we can't go move, push forward.
Kick on again,
I can't. Like us guys, I just can't see it at the moment, unfortunately.
No.
Well, what's saying in the chat as well? Convert to a 3 at the back and let Nuno go, basically, as in let him be unpredictable.
I'd actually do that. Do you know what, Russ? I totally agree with that. I've seen a couple of people saying about 3 at the back, and
I'll be
slide. I would do that. People are, when we were in that desperate situation last season, that's the only time we had a decent run of games, when we went to 3 at the back. And the season before, and just to solidify for a little while. And I know that we've actually been unbeaten in 5 games now.
5,
so, like I said before, people are acting like we got hammered yesterday. We didn't. We still drew the game. However, we need to do something to make the front end of the pitch click. And conversely, that might be a bit weird by strengthening up at the back in some sort of ways. To be able to release them a bit more. He might feel a bit more confident by...
I feel that bringing back Lacazette in the team might support that. I really do. I think he's got to play Friday.
I think so as well, but I would do the same. I'd actually put Tierney back into the back 3, and I'd put Tavares on one side, and I'll still stick with Tomiyasu on the other side as right wing back. And I'll definitely bring back Lacazette just for his pure energy and enthusiasm, because we're desperate for that.
Mate, he was goading up the fans and everything yesterday. Like, honestly, He won everyone over within 2 minutes coming on, mate, because he was just showing the passion. You sit there and think, like, if we can have just a few players like this, like the team returns, you know what I mean? But it's getting the players to come out of that. Like even players like Tierney, I know he's got it inside him. I've seen him at Celtic. I know the geezer's got it inside him, and he seems a bit low at the moment. And
definitely.
That's the thing that concerns me.
Definitely. But
I'm going to have to shoot, guys. But it's been a pleasure coming on.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Liam. Nice to speak.
Yeah, Andrew, mate. Obviously, I know, definitely.
And Liam, where can people find you and what you've got planned for your channel?
Find me on the North Bank Summit. I've actually got a show in half hour, so if you want to pop on. I think you're coming on Thursday, ain't you, Ryan?
Thursday night after my preview, yeah.
Yeah. So pop on and see me and Ryan on Thursday at 8:00. But yeah, it's been a pleasure meeting you, Andrew, and I've had a good time talking Arsenal.
Likewise.
See you later, mate.
Cheers.
See you later,
mate.
Bye-bye.
See you later. Yeah. I mean, Stephen in the chat as well. You mentioned, because we were talking about the director of football or something to oversee everything. We had a missing chat. And in 6 months, they all had him booted to the curb, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he wasn't going to hold that type of role. He was obviously a recruitment guy, wasn't he? But
there was someone there to start the process off.
Yeah, he had been promised to be able to make that step up into a bigger role. But obviously, when Raul was recruited, he put an end to that. He wanted total control. So, yeah, it was all went tits up from there, basically. But although as good as Mislintat is, he's not the type of guy I'm talking about with regards to being, even more seniority.
Yeah, experience. Yeah.
But I mean, I'd be very tempted to go with the back three with wing backs on Friday. And you know what? I saw someone again. I didn't actually take a note of their name, so I apologise. But this isn't my own thoughts. But they mentioned about the midfield partnership with Partey, and because we haven't got Xhaka, Ødegaard ain't the answer, because it's handcuffing Ødegaard and taking away everything that's good about him by dragging him back. He needs to be more up front in like the number 10 role. And Lokonga maybe isn't quite there yet at the level that we need. And also, it doesn't really complement Partey as much as we'd hoped he would as well. So it might be worth, I know this is an absolutely amazing thing to say, but it might be worth bringing back El Neni to toughen up that midfield so he could be deep with Partey, so that the better players, he can just do all the dirty work, and the better players can obviously push forward and do their jobs properly. So actually thinking about and calling for sort of maybe El Neni coming back into the team for a while, just to sort of strengthen the midfield, is not something I thought I'd be talking about, but I think it's something that we might need at the moment.
Yeah, it does seem like it, because, as you say, the other options. Sambi's just joined us. He's new to the league. He's learning the ropes. Ainsley isn't really what part he needs next to him either.
No, I don't think he is. I don't think he is. He's done a good job every now and then, but for a full 90 minutes where we need to start battling on the midfield and try and win that midfield battle, El Neni is the one that will just he'll accept any job that he's given, and he's quite happy to sit deep and just break up play and sort of mark players out the game. So I think it'd be probably worthwhile getting that midfield toughened up a bit, with having him alongside Partey for the next game or two, just to try and get a bit more beef there, to be honest with you, because Ødegaard is being wasted, being played too deep, absolutely wasted. There's no point in having him on the pitch when we're going to do that.
And Guy's comment there about obviously Sambi and Ødegaard were brought in to solidify the midfield. Yeah, long term they were. But as I said, Sambi's he's 21, something like that.
Yeah, 21, he's 21.
So he's still he's adapted to a new league. Then, as you say, physically he's got to beef up as well.
Absolutely, mentally. I love the guy.
Take time. We can't just expect him to just come in like that. And I know Guy doesn't mean it like that, but that's another gripe that's been thrown at not just Edu, but Arteta as well, and the whole club as well this summer. We spent £50 million on a defender when we had that defender in that position anyway in Saliba. We sent him out on loan and not really addressed the midfield, which has been a major cause of concern for years.
No, you know what? As well, I don't want this to become like a reason to keep bashing Ben White with, because
not bashing
no,
Ben
no,
White,
I know you're not.
Yeah.
I know you're not, but the fan base just like keeps saying 50 million quid on Ben White, but he's going to get he's going to be labelled with this guy buying this guy who we didn't need type thing, and it's if he's crap and we've wasted money on him, bro. And that's a shame for him. I feel sorry for the guy because it's not his fault we went out and spent 50 million quid on him, and I like him. I really like him as a player.
Andrew, we saw this when Pepe came in. That's for 72 mil. He didn't start off greatly. People were going, "Oh, 72 mil." We're seeing the exact same thing now with Benjamin.
I know. It's doing my head in as a fan base. It really did. But I watched Marseille the other night, and when I posted those two Guendouzi goals,
Marseille and Nasri Marseille.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what though. I watched Saliba really closely. I watched Guendouzi really closely, and I mean Saliba is just like a really good defender, a really good player. And it is crazy. It really is crazy that we're not playing him and that we felt the need to spend 50 million quid on Ben White. But we did. So, I don't know why we did. What the main reason was, what the beef against Saliba is, if there really is any beef against him. I don't know. I'd love to know. But for now, let's... we need to support Ben White, but I totally get what people are talking about when we could have spent that 50 million quid, used Saliba and spent the 50 million quid elsewhere. I totally get that, but we can't change what's happened. So I do really like Ben White. I think he's going to be a really good player for us.
Well, if it wasn't
at the same time, we've got to bring Saliba back next summer. We've got to.
Oh, we have to. It's ridiculous. It's getting ridiculous now. The fact that he's not played. He's on a contract 3 seasons ago. Initially, the first season he was meant to go out on loan, so that's okay. But for the last 2 seasons, we've now sent him out on loan. Well, we had him for half a season last year and didn't use him.
I don't know.
Made him play with the under-21s for 6 months.
He hardly played for that. I think he only made about 6 appearances for them. To be honest,
with you. He didn't. That's the only time he got play in the Arsenal shirt.
I don't know. I mean, when he does come back next summer, and presuming Ben White and Gabriel stay fit, so where's he going to play every week? I mean, unless we do permanently switch to a back 3. I don't know. It's a weird one. I really would love to know what's going on there with Saliba, because he just seems ready-made for the Premier League, if you ask me. He's playing outstanding football. It really is.
He would still fit a 3 at the back. He'd know, in the sense of you could have your Saliba, Ben White, and Gabriel all playing at the same time, and have Pablo Mario, all that as your backup.
I mean, that would be incredible. I mean, what a back 3 that could actually be.
Look at the height for them as well. They're all like 6 foot plus, aren't they?
And they're all really good on the ball. They're all young. It could be one of the best, potentially one of the best defenses out there, over a long period. I mean, it'd be really, really good to watch. But I don't know. I'll have to wait and see on that one. But yeah, I do agree with Liam, what said, bring Lacazette back into the team. I don't agree with the idea of putting Aubameyang back out wide left. I really don't.
If you want to play Lacazette and Aubameyang, you just play with 2 strikers in a formation that has 2 strikers, 2 up front, basically. Be it 4-4-2, whatever, or whatever sort of format you want to go. Make sure he's got to just have your 2 strikers. Don't have one striker down the middle and have the other striker on the wing, because that's not going to work.
Well, I think it may sound quite negative, but like a 5-3-2 formation. It ain't going to happen, but I personally think that could be a way of getting some results over a short period of time. And with the 2 wing backs, it could actually reinvigorate. It depends whether he drops Tomiyasu back into the back 3 or Tierney, because if if you drop Tomiyasu back into the back three, it could reinvigorate Tierney on the left as a left wing back.
Yeah.
Or we could unleash Tavares on the Premier League and see whether he can just start ripping people new runs.
Because that's the thing at Benfica, that's what he played. He played a wing back.
Yeah.
So he's not like if he dug out of water, he wouldn't know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing.
Exactly. He could be a bit of a secret weapon. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I'm at the moment, I'm actually really quite worried about the game. I really am. More so than I was before.
You and me both. I think not just us three. Obviously, have been on tonight, but I haven't found a single Arsenal fan today that's actually looking forward to Friday now. Even the ones, as you said, not leaving the ones that are going.
I know.
Because it's. I mean, we're talking about obviously near the end of Unai Emery and all that, and the matter of it, literally pretty much an empty stadium. It was pretty much an empty stadium in his last game, and even in the Southampton game, there was empty seats. You could see empty seats all over the place. Last night, we watched that game. If you watched it back, there were so many empty seats in the East Stand and the West Stand, and probably the upper tier was completely empty on a Monday night. And I know it's Monday night, and I know people might because it's not half term yet. Under Wenger, that was never an issue. Monday night football, that place was rammed no matter what. I
know, but the thing was, I think it was pretty rammed when the game kicked off, wasn't it? It was just like
there's a few seats. There were still a few seats empty in that where the cannon is.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but near the end, the people just, as you say, went into habits and thought, "Fuck, why are we here?" They couldn't see nothing into it. Another seeing us coming back in, and they just went, "Okay, I'm going home."
Yeah. Well, I've had this game on, and I've missed about 3 goals somehow. It finished up 5-1 in the end.
Oh bloody hell!
I know. I don't know where they came from, but anyway.
Oh dear.
We'll have to wait and see what happens, won't we? But maybe we'll have to do a bit of a prediction show beforehand or something. I don't know, but at the moment. I feel a bit drained about it all.
Again, you and me both, literally, and just to start wrapping things up because obviously we've got stuff to do. Got Liverpool Atletico on soon as well, haven't we?
Yeah, that kicks off in 5 minutes or 3 minutes.
What time does it get off? Oh, not far away. Yeah. I'm gonna say now. The next, we were talking about the fixtures. I talked about fixtures earlier. Watford aside, even then that could be a tough game. We're going to make that a tough game, but it looks at where we're playing at the moment. But look at the rest of the teams. Obviously, got Villa, Leicester, Liverpool, United, the Evertons, Leeds United in the cup, and Leeds at some point in early December. This month block of fixtures between now and the international break could make or break Arteta completely.
Absolutely. And the worst thing is, it gets to a stage where you think no matter what they do, at some times you still got that bit of hope that you're going to be able to spank a team, everything can come together, everything can click, and you're going to get a good win. It's at that stage at the moment where I can't ever envisage that happening, no matter what he does. And that's the worrying thing for me. I've lost that, and I can't see where he's going to pull a really good performance out the bag. I just can't see it coming.
No. And Tracy's asking as well: would it have to go as far as fans in the stadium to protest for Arteta to be sacked? I don't think it'd be protesting. I think in terms of an actual protest, like we've not seen under Wenger and all that beforehand. But I think it's going to be more what we saw under Unai Emery in the back end of Wenger's that last season of Wenger, where people just didn't bother to turn up for the games. It didn't look good for business. And that's what made the club and Wenger come to an agreement where he'd step down into the season or whatever. And Unai Emery, the only reason he left, he got sacked in the end, not the results or anything, because they're backing him to the hill. It was when we didn't turn up for the games at the Emirates. And it looked bad for business. That's when they acted. Took them 2 games, but that's when they acted.
Exactly.
And I think that's I do think it's going to get to that point again. And I think that's what saved him. We said it last year. That's what saved him last year because there was no one there anyway.
Yeah, I think so. But I don't. Well, I think so. I don't think they would have sacked him last year because he just got to that stage, like I said before, where he just managed to turn things around at the right time.
Yeah.
When his back was against the wall, he somehow pulled a good result out of the bag, didn't he?
Chelsea game Boxing Day, yeah.
But they can't get away from those types of figures that I've mentioned earlier about what he's done over 66 games. Yeah, it's just not good enough.
No,
anyway, we'll see.
Again, even on the season under Bruce Rioch, we were never this bad. We finished fifth that year, didn't we?
Fifth.
Europa League, basically, what it is now, yeah.
I know.
Sorry about that. Oh dear.
All right.
But yeah,
no worries. Well,
and yeah, Gary's saying as well, yeah, and that stems from the ownership. I said this last night. I said it on numerous other podcasts last season, and we've all said it on our podcast, our respective podcasts as well. That literally it all stems from the top. Everything that's wrong with the club stems from the Gronkies. Like it or not, it is what it is. There's no coincidence. The second he starts becoming a majority shareholder and then on to being the full owner of the club itself in and around the club and on the pitch has declined massively. And there's no sign under this ownership of it getting better. And if we ain't careful, can't believe I'm saying this, now Newcastle got new ownership, but I've always said with obviously Newcastle fans that we know, that we had the American Mark Ashley. So, they're what? How many years into fucking being running this club?
He ain't. He's nowhere near that.
When I say that, there's no care from the owner. He doesn't run the club. We go to the stadium. There's clear refurbs that need to be done, as in the Legends thing around the stadium, all the ex-players on the stadium bit, that needs a repaint and refurb, freshen up. Basically, it's faded. It just looks decayed. Basically, the cannons going around the stadium, the paint's peeled off. There's tennis balls even in the circle of the cannon, jammed in the cannon. It's just there. They've been there for over 2 years. They've been dealt with. The seats in the stadium need a refresh as well. And then just a general freshen up. It's just been left there to decay after year. And it's things like that show how a business is run, how much care someone cares about their business.
I think it's what the main problem is that they haven't been close enough to the club. And I know I've said this before, but I think that they've made decisions that have not been the best decisions, obviously with the people that they've hired, and they've not been close enough to keep an eye on things. And when the things have gone wrong, they've not made the decisions quick enough. I think that's why they're bad owners. I think that they've not been bad owners because they've not put money into the club. It's because they haven't been close enough to the club. And yeah, like you said, they haven't cared enough about doing things quicker and making sure that they've hired the right people. Because that's what that is their biggest downfall for me. Because if they'd hired someone like a Campos 3 years ago, then we would be in this mess now. Longer than 3 years ago. If he'd hired someone like him 6 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, we wouldn't be in this mess now. But because they've made the wrong decisions, the cheap decisions, in the case of hiring Arteta or hiring Unai Emery, I'm sure he was a lot cheaper than what a lot of the other managers are out there. Or even if they've made that decision to hire Unai Emery but sacked him quicker,
Mm.
You know, things like that. Then again, we wouldn't probably be in as deep a mess as we are now either. So I think that's the main problem, is that they've not been around. They've not, you know, they don't seem like they care because they've not been here. But over the last 18 months, they've had obviously a reason for that. But they haven't got that reason now. And I don't know whether Josh is still here or not, but I know he was here recently. But that's the problem. And if they could get the recruitment right, then we'd have a better chance of success.
Yeah, no, exactly. That's on them again, like you say. Until they start realizing that and actually act like they care and do the right things and hire the right people for the right roles in this, that, and the other, and invest.
Yeah, exactly.
Not just in, when I say invest, it's not just player personnel. It's investing within the club itself, the structure of the club, how it's run on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, exactly. But we're really too lightweight with regards to our executives and our directors.
Yeah,
We haven't got enough of I mean, who you wouldn't think you'd be saying we haven't got enough executives or directors, because But in our case, I think it's true. You know, we're really lightweight up there, haven't we?
we've got no football men at the board level either. Let's be honest. Vinay's not a football man. I mean, Edu, but he's not a board. He's more working alongside Arteta. We do need. I've been saying since Raul got ousted and kicked out the club, even though they don't say it officially, but that's how it was. Because obviously, a couple of months prior, there was rumours of David O'Leary was on the verge of being brought into the club as a football man, Arsenal man, into the board, and it was Raul that blocked it. So I put a tweet out straight away that day. I went, "Right, can Arsenal go and get David O'Leary now? And give him the role at the club in the board that it was offered initially, or even higher, and get the fans back on the side and things like that. Basically hire an Arsenal man. The guy that's made the most appearances for the clubs in the club's history, bleeds the club, knows the club inside out. His own daughter liked it, so she's clearly on the same wavelength there.
Absolutely.
She doesn't even fucking follow me, for fuck's sake. And she fucking saw it. And as I said, so there's clearly, and you see him every now and then pop up David O'Leary as a guest. That's not good enough. We need Arsenal men. We need a David O'Leary to Tony Adamses of this world at some capacity on that board. Men that care about the club, that know the club inside out.
Did you see Tony Adams there yesterday?
Yeah, with his son. I think his son. Looks like his son anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I know it makes you happy when you see people like that in the crowd, doesn't it? And it'd be even better if you saw them, around the board table.
Yeah, exactly.
In the offices.
Yeah, just doing the stuff that they'd want to do, because they've since over time. Tony Adams went there with a consortium to join the board before Kong came along, and they told him where to stick it. It was blocked basically because Wenger didn't want ex-players on the board level because he thought it interfered with how he was doing his job and all it, and that would never be the case.
No.
But it is what it is. But now it does. I said it does need it. It's down to them now. All this PR, as I call it, PR BS from the Conkeys since April, since the Super League fallout. But as far as I'm calling it all BS. Everything they've said is BS until they prove me different. They get off their ass. They come over. They don't just come over for the flying visit. They stay here. Like if Josh is now been given full control by his dad to run this club, get your ass over here, find a fucking flat or whatever in London, and set up shop and run the club like a business, like a day-to-day business, like you would back in the States. Like your dad does back in the States with the LA Rams. Show you care. Don't just say things like, "Oh, I want to be down the." Things like going, "Oh, I want to be back on a match day down the pub and that's not showing you care. That's just doing the usual PR bullshit that you need to do to show that the media you're here, you're there, guys. Hi, you're one of the people. No, you go and do what needs to be done. Refurbs that need to be done. Dressing room did not need to be refurbed. You've got to refurb that, whatever. Refurb what's need to be refurbed. Hire the staff that need to be hired. Get rid of the stuff that are not doing their job properly. I.e., if performance is on the pitch, football's meant to be a results-driven game. We're not getting the results yet. We're on the verge of basically being worse off than what we were last year. So we don't we need to start these next 2 games. He said, yeah.
The maximum we can have now.
If that's the case, if that does happen, there's a clear decline. There's a red flag there already flying.
If we win the next 2 games, we'll be 4 points better off than we were this time last year. So that's passable. But if we, if anyone can confidently think we're going to win the next 2 games, then I'd like to hear the argument for it because, I'm not confident at all. But I'd love to be wrong. I'd love to go and win the next 2 games, and if that's the case, then fine. Because that's 4 points better off than where we were last season. It's a step in the right direction. Let's see. But at the moment, that's far from the case, and it looks like we're going to be closer to pretty much bang on where we were this time last year. Yeah, and that's just not good enough.
No, exactly. Especially the signs we have made, like it or not, it is what it is. When you're spending the money we've spent, you want to see improvement. Mm-hmm. We're not with us. Obviously, the next 2 games will show that if we don't win them, either of them.
Exactly.
So, but with that, I think we've wrapped things up. Otherwise, we're going down rabbit holes like finding some mountains soon.
I know.
Oh dear. Saved that one for Friday night. But thanks obviously Andrew for coming on, and obviously
no problem anytime.
Where can people find you? And obviously, want to promote your podcast from this morning.
It's a really enjoyable one this morning with Jerry Payton. I hope everyone can be with me. I'm sure you all are. I'm wishing Bob Wilson the best because he's in hospital at the moment and he's not better yet. He's still there, and hope we all give him the best, very best wishes because it's a big day for him coming up on the 30th of October. It's his 80th birthday. So it's a big one for Bob, and we all want him fit and healthy and ready for that one. But with regards to the chat I had with Jerry Payton this morning, it was really, he's a great bloke, really nice guy. Spoke really openly about the Invincibles year, Jens Lehmann, all the goalkeepers that we've had in the meantime, and his time in Japan. And Ramsdale and the evolution of the goalkeeping role. It's really interesting. So please go and check it out on my channel, which is From Dial Square to Where. If you can follow me on Twitter, it's at From Dial Square. And thanks very much again for having me on.
Absolutely, no problem. Are you around on Thursday? About the same time.
I can do about an hour.
Yeah, that's
Thursday.
Fine. Yeah, I'll literally be an hour because I've got to go on Liam's podcast on each channel afterwards, so that's fine.
Yeah, that's no problem then. Yeah, no worries.
Yeah. And then what about Friday? How are you feeling for that? Have you got company?
I can't on Friday. Yeah, I've got guests coming over on Friday, so
yeah, that's fine. I'm asking obviously in advance because obviously I don't want to assume and obviously, all that sort of thing. Oh dear, but obviously for everyone else in the chat, Bas, Gary, Tracy, Stephen, and everyone else that's popped up in the chat throughout the night, thank you very much. Obviously, appreciate all your comments you put in there as well.
Thank you.
Interacting with us guys as well, and vice versa. As I said, I don't know about tomorrow about content. What any content was, I'm not sure yet. It might be a day off because I'm going to need it. Because literally, as I said, back Thursday for a preview, an hour's preview, then over on Liam's channel for doing. Appearance on his channel, then doing the watch on Friday, then doing the match of the day stuff on Saturday and Sunday, and then and then obviously on Saturday as well, along with the match of the day one, I've got to do a review podcast for the video game as well, so that's be fun. Well, hopefully it will be if we win, but you know what I'm saying. But so it's gonna be busy. If you've enjoyed what we've done, do obviously stay subscribed and do share the link to what we've done tonight, this stream, and share it around all your social media platforms and all that jazz, and just help promote because the more you guys do that, it helps. It does beat the algorithm on YouTube, and they do promote it themselves, and it helps the channel even more. And as I said, we enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Obviously, if you're watching Champions League football, enjoy that. There's a way we're watching it from an Arsenal perspective for a while, by the looks of it. And I'll see you on Thursday at least. On Thursday 6:30.
Thank you to
Previewing
everyone.
the Aston Villa game. With obviously Andrew, got Keith coming on as well. And Greengrass will be back for that one. Don't worry.
Great.
He was the reason he wasn't here tonight is obviously gone to the cinema with his other half. 007.
That's nice. I bet he's gone to watch Gone with the Wind or something really nice and romantic.
But yeah, until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. And as always,
Up the Arsenal.
Come on, you Gunners.
Always love Arsenal. That's the main thing.